So I know that 99.9% of you listening to this will never do it. You might look at the template. Maybe 10% of you will open the template, and 1% of you will actually 1% of the 10%. So 0.1% will actually do it. But I encourage you, if you're feeling too busy, this is something that you have to do.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe.
What's up, everybody? Michael Hickman here, founder of PainterGrowth.com, and you are listening to another episode of the Painter Growth Podcast. Cool. So today what we're going to do is something a little bit different. This is going to be another solo episode, not because we don't have guests. We got lots of guests, but I thought this was important enough to do as an episode because everyone's busy. Man, we're busy. I got no time to get everything done. Who else feels this way, right? You're running around, we're picking up paint, we're dropping off paint, we're painting, we're talking to our painters, we're cleaning up job sites, we're talking to customers, doing estimates, we're doing marketing, we're blah, 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 right? It feels like a never-ending cycle. So what I want to do here is just a little quick episode, a little quick free training for you guys on how to get 10 hours of your time back every single week. Now, not everyone is going to be able to get 10 hours, but a lot of you will. And it comes down to a very unsexy, but very important topic called priority management. Priority management is your ability to prioritize higher leverage tasks within your business so that you can be more productive, so you can get more done in less time and do the things that you need to be doing, that you as the business owner should be doing to be as effective as possible. Now, I've talked in the past about different thresholds of tasks, like $50 tasks, $50 an hour tasks, $500 an hour tasks, $5,000 hour tasks, and even $50,000 an hour tasks. And if you don't remember this, a quick kind of recap on this is anything that's $50 an hour are things like production, moving around paint, picking up paint, anything that you can outsource for $50 an hour or less. That's about a $50 an hour task. And as a business owner, if you're stuck doing $50 an hour tasks, well, here, just do the math. So $50 an hour times 40 hours a week times 50 weeks a year, that's $100,000. So anytime that you're doing a $50 an hour task, you are making maximum $100,000 per year. So some of you might say, "Oh, I make $100 an hour when I'm painting." It's like, okay, great. So you're making $200,000 an hour or $200,000 a year. And I think for most of us listening to this podcast, if your business only did $200,000, like that's not really the goal. That's not what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to build businesses, 7-figure businesses that will change our lives. And $50 an hour ain't going to cut it. So the concept of this is you want to increase the value of your time on average per hour. So you're doing less of the $50 an hour tasks and more of the higher value tasks. So what are the higher value tasks and how can they be $500 or $5,000 per hour? Well, let's just do the math here. So what's a $500 an hour task? A $500 an hour task is something like an estimate, like sales, right? So you're out there, you do an estimate, and say your average. Let's just throw some numbers out for a second. Say your average job size is $3,000, and say it takes three estimates to book one job. So that means every estimate you do, you're booking about $1,000 per estimate. And if on average your gross margin is 50%, that's $500 of gross margin. So that means every estimate that you do, you're averaging $500 of gross margin or profit for your business. So that's very easily a $500 an hour task. And again, that's assuming a $3,000 job size and a 33% close rate. And a lot of you guys are a lot bigger job size and a lot higher close rates. So, if your average job size is $10,000 and your close rate is 50%, that's already a $5,000 an hour activity because that's a $5,000 gross margin. And that took you an hour to close. Maybe it took a little bit more, but you get the point. So sales, we typically look at, okay, that's a $500 an hour task. And if you spent, 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year doing $500 an hour task, now you're at $1 million business, right? You just added another zero to your company by upping that value of task. Now, what's a $5,000 an hour task? This is a big one. This is the one that a lot of people kind of don't really fully realize until you actually crank the numbers. And one of the highest value activities that you can do in your business, a $5,000 an hour activity, is recruiting, is bringing on a painter, bringing on someone else to produce work for you. So, okay, Mike, how do you make a $5,000 an hour task out of that? Well, if it takes you, so if one painter can produce, say, $125,000 of production a year, okay, and that is at a 50% gross margin, so that's $62,000, 62,500. I'm just doing it in a calculator. I don't have it on screen or anything, but $62,500 of gross margin, and you take that 62,500 and say, okay, how long does it take to bring on a painter? How long does it take to hire a painter? Say you spend 10 hours recruiting, right? Say it takes 10, you take 10 solid hours of dedicated recruiting time, writing the ads, putting the ads out, doing interviews, doing second interviews, doing reference check, and you spend 10 solid hours recruiting, and by the end of those 10 hours, you find one painter. Okay, you take that 62,500 of gross margin and you divide that by 10, you're at $6,250 per hour. So those 10 hours of recruiting that you did, you're making $6,200 an hour recruiting. Pretty wild how impactful that can be. So now you think, oh, if I just crank out a bit more production, right? A lot of the times people are like, oh, I'm so busy painting all the time that I have no time to recruit. Okay, well, if you're so busy painting, making $50 an hour, that you don't have time to go out to your other job where you're making $5,000 an hour, something is wrong with your priorities there, right? This is now back to the priority management thing. Look how important that is. So if you tell the homeowner that you're going to like push their job a week, and this week you're not going to produce, all you're going to do is the entire week you're going to spend on sales, $500 an hour tasks, and recruiting, $5,000 an hour tasks, and you end that week with 10 more jobs and a new rock star painter who you're stoked about, and then you go into that next week with another, $20,000 a week work booked and a new painter that you're now training, your business is going to be a much better place than if you just cranked out those 40 hours of production for $50 an hour. Cool. And then, hey, Mike, what's a $50,000 an hour task? Well, this one can get a little bit, actually, before I go into that, I want to say, you can't start a business and just immediately do the $5,000 an hour tasks all the time. You can't do that. You have to earn the right to do those $5,000 an hour tasks and those $500 an hour tasks. And if you don't put in the work at the lower level to get to those higher levels, then you just, there's only so much of those higher level tasks that you can do. You just can't go in and say, I want to recruit all day for my business and make $5,000 an hour. You can do that a little bit, but you have to earn the right to do that. And there's only so much of that you can do before you need to level your business up to the next level. And so what's a $50,000 an hour task? I mean, $50,000 an hour task, we say pretty obviously is, and this is a little self-fulfilling here, but like having a call with my team and seeing if we can help you grow your company. Because in that 1 hour that you spend with my team, if it turns out that, we find a, $30,000 a month opportunity or a $50,000 a month opportunity, that's not even a $50,000 opportunity hour. That can be a $500,000 an hour because of what you potentially unlocked. And we've had lots of clients come through the program where they're starting out and they're stuck at that like 5 or 10 or even 20K per month. And then within a year, they're running $1 million company. Like it's happened more times than I can count. So, that's the example of it. It's way more than a $50,000 hour, but we just say 50,000 because that's like, to say anything more than that would be just like a little unbelievable. So, we try to stay in the realm of believability, but if we can help you make, another 50K in a year in a 1 hour conversation with us, then, let's do it. Cool. So how do you now take the week that you're doing and spend more time in that higher level $500 an hour and $5,000 an hour tasks? Now, the first step is simply doing some priority management exercises. And we have a series of 3 exercises that we recommend doing initially before you even start like thinking, do I need to hire? Do I need to do what? Like you need to first get a handle of the time that you're currently spending in your business and what you're doing, figuring out where your hours are going. So we have a 3-step priority management process that we take you through. And I'll share this toolkit for free. I'll actually put it in the description of the podcast below here. But basically, step 1 is you're going to be doing a time audit. So I recommend minimum 3 days, ideally 5 days. You're going to either print this out or have it on your iPad or on your phone or whatever. But every couple of hours, you're going to log into it and you're going to write in what you did every 15 minutes. And let me see if I can just kind of find it. Daily time audit tracker. What do I call it? I'll find it here in a second. But printout template, here we go. All right, present. I'm going to share a screen here. So pretty simple. And like I said, I'll have a link below where you can get these templates. But in your daily time audit, you're going to say what you did every 15 minutes from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. or whenever you start or end your day. And what you'll do, even if you're honest with yourself and you keep track of this every single day for at least 3 days, and you look back and be like, wow, what the heck did I do all day? And you can see where you're wasting 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And then any notes associated with this. Is this a high value task? Is it low value? Should this be you doing it? Just anything that you can think about to add context to that specific task. So once you do that for 3 days, the next thing that you're going to do is fill out what we call our D sheet. And our D sheet is now time to analyze what you did, what you learned on the daily time audit, and finally decide if these are something you're going to do, if there's something you're going to delegate, or if it's something that you're going to dump or stop doing. So I am going to just now present this other slide here, the D sheet here. So you're going to take all of the individual tasks that you did in the daily time audit, and you're going to assign an hourly rate. So if you were to pay someone to do this task, how much would it cost to outsource this to somebody? Now, I'm reading a book right now. It's called Buy Your Time Back. I think it's by Dan Martell. And one of the concepts that he shares that I really like is that you should never do anything that is 25% or less of your annual salary as an hourly rate. So if you made $100,000 last year, and you divide that by 50 weeks divided by 40 hours, your hourly rate is $50 an hour. So you should not do anything that you can outsource for less than 25% of that. So $12.50 an hour, you should be able to outsource that. So if you have something like picking up paint, can you outsource one of your painters to do that for you? Can you save time? What's the hourly rate to outsource it? And then does it have to be you? So even if it's close to your hourly rate, but it takes up a huge amount of your time, is there a way that does it either have to be you, or does it even have to be done altogether? And be honest with yourself. One of the things that I hear often is that painters really like to visit every site that they have going on every single day, start of the day, end of the day, and all of this driving between sites to talk to painters, to meet them, to talk to the homeowners, whatever. They end up spending hours and hours and hours in their vehicles for not really any clear reason. I mean, there's a reason, but it doesn't have to be done that way, right? There are more time effective ways. Also, and then you decide if you should do it, delegate it, or dump it. So do it, keep doing it. Is it still going to be you the one that does it? Delegate. Is there someone else on your team, or is there a role that you need to create to actually do this thing? Or dump. Is there could we just stop doing it altogether? End of day job site check-ins on site. Is there a way you can do that remotely through Zoom or Google Hangouts or Google Meets or whatever, and do a virtual something where you can save all of that drive time? The same can be said with things like your some estimates, right? A lot of the time we're wasting time driving to estimates that end up turning into nothing. So are there things that you can be doing in your day to use that time more effectively, to better qualify those estimates on the phone before visiting them, to save you that time and make you not have to drive all the way across town for seemingly no reason? If you're able to increase your close rate from 30% to 50%, think about the effectiveness that has on your time, because it's not just the time in the home, but all that drive time, all that preparation, all that thinking about it, and setting it up, and the administrative, stuff that comes with that. There's just so much other overhead that comes with being busy. So as you go through your daily time audit for a couple of days, look at what you're doing and be honest with yourself. How much of this stuff really has to be me? As a business owner who wants to grow their companies, I've said this many times and I'm going to keep saying it. I think someone actually quoted me on this once, and I was really excited, and I want more people to quote me on this. But your ability to grow your company is limited only by your ability to delegate more and more complex tasks. So I'll say that one more time. Your ability to grow your company is limited only by your ability to delegate more and more complex tasks. What does that mean? That means that as your business grows, the things that your business is doing, the tasks that you do as a business owner, are going to get more and more complex and harder to do, thus harder and harder to delegate. Initially, when you start your business, what are the things you're delegating? You're delegating painting, right? That's typically the first thing. You're delegating bookkeeping. You're delegating, some light admin, right? All things that are fairly easy to delegate and teach someone else how to do. But as you grow, things start to get a little bit more difficult to delegate and take more time and require you to become a bit better leader. Things like, leading crews, setting up expectations with homeowners, doing sales, how to price, how to conduct a sales appointment, how to, generating leads is something that people outsource early on, but they outsource it in the wrong way by hiring an agency or paying Angie's List. When in reality, there's so many things that they can do internally within their company, kind of boots on the ground stuff, the systems that we teach that will allow them to get their team generating leads for them without using Angie's or without using agencies, because there's so much low-hanging fruit that you can do to get leads on your own. So one of the things that I'm working on right now as a business owner, and I'm not running a painting business anymore, but I'm running my coaching company, and we're getting to a pretty significant level where we have 24 people on the team, and I kind of struggle giving away control, right? Because I've been there where I've had team members, drop the ball, not like recently on this company, but just in the past, in my painting company and stuff, team members dropping the ball or not doing what I recommended, or me just saying, hey, I think I could do it better myself if I just did it. But what I'm working on right now is actually promoting from within, and kind of restructuring a little bit and actually promoting 3 different people on my team to become leaders of different divisions. And this is requiring now me to level up as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a man, and develop my skill set on skill transfer and leadership. So the team who would historically all have one-on-ones with me, I was doing way too many one-on-one meetings with my entire team, and I know a lot of you guys don't even do one-on-one meetings, and I highly recommend you do, because they're so important. Do a one-on-one with your team. So but as over the course of the month of May, I'm going to be transitioning from doing one-on-ones with everybody to my team, my leaders not doing one-on-ones with their respective teams. So we'll have a social media team, have a sales team, have a marketing team, or we have our coaches already, being led by a team. We have and then we have a product team. Anyway, lots of lots of teams there. But yeah, that's the whole concept, is like, as you build your business, the things that you're going to have to delegate become more and more complex, and you're going to have to rise to the occasion. So I've been, listening to a lot of podcasts myself and reading a lot of books and figuring out the exact skills that I need to develop to become this leader. And on top of that, I'm sharing resources with my team, the new leaders on my team, specifically regarding the skills that they need to develop in order to succeed in their roles. Because my role as a leader and as a manager is not just to manage them, but actually to help develop people to become better people. And a concept that Alex Hormozy actually mentioned in one of his recent videos that I really liked is that all of your assets depreciate over time, right? Your equipment depreciates in the matter of, my course, like my training depreciates because it gets, older and older. Your trucks, your materials, will eventually expire. Your everything really that you have in your business depreciates, except for your team, because your team ideally gets smarter and smarter every day by being on your company. They get more experience, they get more tenure, they learn, hopefully. You're developing them. So your team appreciates. There's what I'm looking for. Your team appreciates over time, whereas your equipment depreciates. So you should be investing heavily in your team. So like, if I look at my calendar right now is like, sure, yes, I'm doing the podcast a few hours a week. But other than the podcast and a little bit of like marketing stuff and some videos and whatnot, almost all of my time is spent with my team, doing one-on-ones, in team meetings, working on scorecards, working on, operations. Just about my entire week is now spent with my team, because I know that in order for me to grow, an 8-figure, maybe one day 9-figure company, I have to invest in my team, and they need to be bought in. They need to be operating on all single cylinders. They need to be absolutely crushing it and ultimately doing a better job than I can do. So one of the roles that I'm really excited about, actually just announced to my team today, is one of my sales reps is becoming a sales manager on my team. And I think this is um, a really important kind of pivot for me and for the sales team, because, you know, up to date, I've been the sales manager. I've been leading the sales meetings, and I've been rallying the troops, and, problem solving and doing reviews and all of that stuff. Things that sales manager things, right? But I'm running a business, right? I'm in product, I'm in marketing, I'm in customer success, I'm in billing, I'm getting pulled all sorts of different directions. So the actual sales management that I've been doing has been like very limited, not a ton of time. Maybe I've been spending 3 or 4 hours a week on sales management, but and for that, I'm doing my team a disservice, because they're not getting the leadership that they need to really maximize their true potentials. So one of my reps, he has been expressing a lot of leadership lately, and his results have been really taken off. So because of that, and because we're data focused, we can look at the numbers and we're able to do that. We, it was a natural next step for him to take on this role. And so now my focus isn't, managing the team. I don't have like five people now um, to manage and do one-on-ones with and track their scorecards and their metrics. I just have one. Right. But now my time in terms of an hourly rate goes again from that, like a whole order of magnitude. Instead of that being a $5,000 an hour task, working with each member of my team, maybe this is a $50,000 an hour task working with my sales manager every week, because it's just that much more leveraged. And the better that I can be at transferring skill and transferring um, motivation and leadership characteristics and the right direction, and him seeing the vision and being motivated and seeing the outcomes that we get and really having that drive, the more effective our calls are going to be, and the more effective he's going to be as a leader. And so that's how I want you guys to think. And you might not be in that position in your business yet where you have leaders on your company, because it took me several years to get to this point. And honestly, even like a lot of hesitation, because I was for a long time, felt a little bit like nervous to take that next step, to bring on leaders to manage divisions, because I felt like I was going to lose control. And so you only rise to what was this thing? I was just listening to another book actually this morning. A friend of mine, Archie, just recommended this. It's called Chop Wood, Carry Water. And it's you don't rise to the occasion. If you don't rise to the occasion when you're put under pressure, you drop to the level of your preparation. And so if you're not prepared and you try to do something big under pressure, then you're not going to rise to the occasion. You're going to drop to the highest level of your preparation. And so hopefully you're prepared for beyond that occasion, and you really excel because you are so prepared. Whole concept of that book is like, he wants to be a samurai, and he goes to the samurai camp, and it's not about, he wants to go and like do the sword stuff and do the bow stuff like right away and shoot arrows. But it's like, okay, before you can do that, you need to chop wood and carry water, chop wood, carry water, chop wood, carry water. And you do the boring stuff a million times without anyone looking, without any glory, before you get the opportunity to do the stuff that does gain that glory. And that's kind of how I felt for about a year in my business now in Painter Growth, is that I wasn't ready for bringing on leaders in various divisions, because I was still doing the hard thing, and it was taking a lot of time. I was sacrificing time to do that. But I was building the foundation, I was developing the team, I was putting the right people in place. And now we're at a place where it makes sense to bring on managers in a few different roles, focus on developing them, and that's in turn going to build the company. So wherever you are in your journey, if you're just hiring your first painter, or you're ready to put managers in place, I highly encourage you to go through the priority management training, see where your time is going, see if the things that you're actually doing in your day-to-day are the best use of your time. Every time that we see one of our clients go through this priority management training, they are blown away by how ineffective they are with their time. It's actually pretty wild. So I know that 99.9% of you listening to this will never do it. You might look at the template. Maybe 10% of you will open the template, and 1% of you will actually 1% of the 10%. So 0.1% will actually do it. But I encourage you, if you're feeling too busy, this is something that you have to do. It will completely change your outlook on the tasks that you do, how you do them, who you get them done. If you ever need a book recommendation based on where you are, just like let me know. I'm happy to recommend them. We have a whole bunch of book recommendations depending on what you're trying to get, what you're trying to do, whether it's an audiobook or a physical book, what skill or what thing you're trying to get support with. We can give you that direction. But I would just say, like, figure out what you're doing, figure out where your time is going, and be smart about it. You have more time in the day than you realize. If you're not using a digital calendar, do that. What are you doing? Use a digital calendar. Go to calendar.google.com, sign up for a Google Calendar, start putting things in your day that you know you're going to be doing, and build things around that. Now, the last thing that I forgot, just about forgot, was the third step. So we have the daily time audit, we have the D sheet, and the next thing I just call the to-do list. And I'm going to share my screen one last time just to show you the to-do list. And it's pretty simple. It's just a slight little variation on the actual to-do on a standard to-do list. But basically, as you go through, our training, or if you're just going through and working on projects, what I want you to do is, like, say you're working on a project where you want to set up like a Facebook marketing campaign yourself. So instead of just making the task Facebook marketing campaign, you want to break this down into as many subtasks as you can, how long it's going to take, any notes, resources that you have, scale of 1 to 5, how important is it, and then yes, no, has it been scheduled? So task, say it's, log into Facebook and set up a business manager account. Time, 1 hour. Any links or notes to resources? Okay, 1 out of 5. How important is it? 5. Okay, and then once you schedule it in your calendar, once you put that 1 hour time block in your calendar for that thing, then you can put this to yes or turn it green or something. The next thing might be, watch the Paint and Grow Facebook ad training. Okay, that's a 2-hour training, so it's 2 hours. Link to the resource. 5, it has to be you. And then once you schedule that, you put a 2-hour time block in your calendar so that you have those 2 hours to go through the training. And now it's in. And then from there, as you're watching that video, you can put in the rest of your tasks because you'll know what to do. So we have those 3 resources. I'll put them in the description of this as like a toolkit for you to download. And I hope that you use it, guys. I really do. It's going to help. It's going to help a lot. And anyway, with that being said, I hope you appreciated this little priority management training. One of the most important skills you could ever learn as a business owner, for someone who wants to, if you're someone who wants to, run a 7-figure business, multi-million-dollar company one day, you have to dial this in. Took me a long time to get it dialed. Right now, I would say my priority management is quite dialed. My calendar is pretty crazy, but I'm just spending a lot of time with my people because I know the investments that I make in my people right now are going to pay dividends in the future. And, that's really what I'm about. So with that being said, hope you guys appreciated it. If you like this episode, please do some sort of interaction on Spotify. That really helps. Just at the end of the episode, open up Spotify right now. Either rate us a 5 out of 5. That's the only way that our podcast kind of grows, is you sharing it. Social, we don't run ads to this podcast. So please, if you haven't yet, open up that Spotify app or that Apple Podcast app. Give us a 5 out of 5 or whatever you feel like we deserve. And I'd really appreciate that. Just give us a rating, throw a little comment, maybe throw something in Q&A there. Share it on social if you want, if you really get crazy. But with that being said, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you listening to the end. And until next time, peace. Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.